Isang maganda at mapagpalang umaga po sa ating lahat. Ngayon po ay araw ng Lunes, February 22, 2021. At muli pong nagbabalik ang hashtag Team LRC sa panibagong yugto po ng ating Unplugged webinar series. Good morning po sa ating lahat na nakatutok ngayon sa ating programa, sa ating mga ka-Unplugged. Kamusta na po kayo? Medyo malamig po ngayon, ano? At so hopefully po nakapag-almusal na po ang bawat isa sa atin para naman handang-handa po tayo for this morning na makinig sa isa na namang exciting na topic sa umagang ito. Ayan, so magandang umaga po sa ating mga early birds sa FB Live. Nakita po natin ang aga nung iba, talagang 11 yung nakita ko na nakatutok agad. Ayan, so please let us know kung saan po kayo nakatutok ngayon. At kung wala pa po dito yung inyong mga kasamahan, ang inyong mga friends, mga dabarkads, ayan, gisingin na po natin sila at sama-sama po tayong mag-chillax naman ng kaunti, before our second semester starts. Kaya naman po, itag nyo po sila sa ating video na ito or i-share nyo din po itong ating FB Live video para sama-sama po tayong makapakinig at matuto sa umagang ito. As of this morning po, meron po tayong 530 registered participants. Ayan, thank you so much for taking interest in this webinar series. I hope on board na po tayong lahat. Time check po, it's 10:02 in the morning. Welcome to Unplugged 2.0. Relax, de-stress, and recharge using non-digital activities webinar series with the theme Life in Full Bloom or Blossom and Live with Optimism and Open Mind. And we are now on our first session entitled Paint Your Stress Away, Acrylic Painting for Beginners. I am Cheryl Hermosa Ebron, University Extension Associate and Training Coordinator of LRC, and I will be your moderator for this morning. Just a few reminders once again, kindly keep your comments helpful, considerate to our speaker, moderator, and to your fellow participants. And if you have questions, feel free to comment them down below our comment section box. They will be addressed po by our speaker after the discussion. Also, please ask questions that are relevant to our topic. And then lastly, please do not forget to answer the evaluation form after the webinar. Our team, hashtag Team LRC, will deeply appreciate for your comments and suggestions. The deadline of submission of responses for you is actually until 7 p.m. today. That is for you to receive your certificate for this session. Ayan, sa mga nagre-request po na sana daw ay weekend itong ating mga sessions. Yung iba naman naka-mobile data, yung iba po may kasabay talaga naganap sa araw ng ating mga webinar. Don't worry po because we will upload all our sessions on our YouTube channel. I-search nyo lamang po yung UPLB Learning Resource Center. As of now po, we already have 1,390 subscribers po. So keep them coming. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, huwag kalimutang i-click yung notification bell para updated po kayo palagi sa ating mga videos. You can also watch the replay po through our Facebook page. Ang UPLB Learning Resource Center po, our FB social community is still growing strong. Right now, we have reached more than 57,000 followers. Thank you so much po sa inyong support. At huwag nyo rin pong kalimutang gamitin yung ating official hashtag sa ating webinar, which is hashtag LRC Unplugged and hashtag Life in Full Bloom para madali po nating makita yung mga videos and resources using that hashtag. Alright, handa na po ba ulit kayo mga ka-unplug? Gina po ba? Of course, Gina G pa rin. So to officially start our session, let's please welcome in the Zoom space our Assistant to the Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs, Professor Rosel V. Collado. Ma'am Rosel, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. At good morning sa Team LRC. In behalf of our Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Jean Loyola, I wish to extend our heartfelt thanks to Team LRC for always coming up with very creative ideas like this one, yung program yung Unplugged. I always look forward to your activities there at Team LRC. And sa ating mga kasama this morning at ang mga manonood pa ng mga tape videos of these activities, okay, sa ating FB page at of course sa YouTube. Kami po dito sa UPLB ay naniniwala na amidst all of this COVID pandemic ay marami po tayong natatap na resources, most especially yung creative juices ng ating mga constituents, not just our faculty, our staff, but most especially our students. Kasi talagang iba yung challenges, di ba, na hinaharap natin dito. From our migration from face-to-face to remote learning, okay, ako mismo naka-experience difficulties, always and of course, magandang activities like this one. So I welcome all of you to this. Also, I'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our person for this sa inyong lahat, magandang umaga, and let's have a fruitful webinar for this painting session. So paint away!
Thank you so much, Ma'am Roselle. Indeed, kailangan po nating mag-relax, mag-de-stress at mag-recharge. Especially po talagang ngayong ngayong sa gitna ng pandemya. Maraming salamat po, Ma'am Roselle. All right, moving forward. Again, let's start our session with a short energizer. So sa lagi pong umaattend ng ating webinar series, you know the drill. Sa ngayon pa lamang po makakasubok, madali lamang po ito. First, you have to open a new browser or a new window and go to www.menti.com. And then second, use our key code. It's already seen in your screen, which is 3371687. Ngayon, kung medyo high-tech po tayo, try nyo din pong i-scan yung ating QR code para diretso na po kayo doon sa ating website or doon sa doon sa menti.com natin mismo. All right? There are 2 questions there. Kindly answer those 2 questions. Let me just share my screen para pare-pareho po tayong makita yung ating result ng menti.com. Ayan. So let me just check. Okay. So the first question is about a book. Ano bang book personality natin? Tayo ba ay gumagamit ng bookmark? O tayo ba ay mga monsters daw na tinutupi? Ano nga tawag doon? Dog ear? Yung mga book natin? Or do you still read a book? E-book na pala ngayon. Let me also post pala yung ating yung ating what do you call that? Yung link para sama-sama po kayong makapunta din doon sa ating website sa Mentimeter. Alright. So, ayan. I'm seeing on my screen, 21 na po, 23 yung nag-a-answer. Ayan. Alin ka ba dyan? You use a bookmark when you're reading a book? Or are you a monster? Kasi tinitiklop mo yung, yung page para dun mo babalikan? Or, ikaw yung nandun sa dulo, do you still read the book? Kasi e-book na yung ginagamit. So, alin ka ba dyan? So far, leading po ang gumagamit ng bookmarks. Wow, congratulations! Mabait sa book. Ako po aminado monster. Tinitiklop ko lang po doon sa yung dog ear nga. Tapos meron tayong 7 na do you still read a book? Aba, ayan. So baka talagang sa e-book na sila sa e-book na sila tumitingin or nagbabasa. Okay lang naman 'yon. All right? Okay, keep them coming. 46, siguro po hanggang 50 kung kaya or 60. Ayan, 29, 32. Talagang madaming nagmamahal sa libro. They use bookmarks. Oh, 'di ba? 11 kaming mga monsters. At 10 po yung siguro e-book yung kanilang binabasa or hindi na ba kayo nagbabasa ng book? Sabi 'di ba, you have to read the book once in a while kasi parang you travel you travel kung saan-saan kapag nagbabasa ka ng book at talagang yung kaalaman natin mas lumalawak pag tayo ay nagbabasa. All right. Ayan, thank you so much for the 65 participants na nag-answer ng ating first question. Let's now move forward to the second question. Ayan. How do you relax, de-stress, and recharge? Ayan, di ba sabi nga, self-care is a priority. It should not be a luxury but a priority. So paano ba kayo mag-recharge? Nung una po nating Unplugged, yung ating first webinar series for Unplugged, we introduced like 4 non-digital activities to relax or to chillax. Meron po tayong meditation, meron tayong art therapy, meron tayong plant therapy, may journaling. So alin po dyan yung ina-apply nyo na so far para kayo ay ma-relax, ma-distress at makapag-recharge? And meron pang ibang choices tayo dito. Merong looking for one at meron tayong I rather sleep. I rather sleep na lang daw po. So far, sige nga, pumapantay po ang art therapy sa I rather sleep. Samantalang meron po tayong 7 na mga plantitos at plantitas. At meron naman po tayong 4 na nagjo-journal. Wow, congratulations. Kasi sa journal daw po pwedeng yung emotions mo ma-process mo din dun eh. And then 3 yung meditation, 7 or 8 so far yung looking for one. At nangunguna po na yung I rather sleep. Totoo naman. Kapag kulang ka talaga sa tulog, matutulog ka na lang. Ayan. So sige po, hanggang 70, paabutin natin. 67, 68, keep on coming. So far talaga, maraming gustong matulog, madaming puyat. And then second ay yung art therapy. Wow! Congratulations. Ang sarap-sarap pong mag-create ng art kasi talagang relaxing and de-stressing po siya. Alright, so thank you very much po sa 72 people, 72 participants natin sa ating menti.com. Thank you for participating in our short Energizer. Alright. So I hope energized na tayo to learn another way to relax, de-stress, and recharge. This time, mas specific na po tayo. Okay? Let's now move forward or go to our main part of our session. Allow me to introduce to you our speaker for this morning. He was actually our speaker in our first Unplugged webinar series for art therapy. He is an assistant professor at the Department of Development Communication at the Visayas State University main campus in Baybay City, Leyte. He teaches undergraduate and graduate courses in development communication and culture and the arts education. For many years, he held many roles for both stage and video productions as scriptwriter, playwright, and director for technical, art, and overall direction. He holds a National Certification 3 on Events Management Services as Stage Director and Events Organizer. In 2008, he was appointed as Festival Director of the first Binaybayon Festival organized by the City of Baybay and is currently an active member of its Festival Technical Committee. He is a member of the National Pool of Educators for Radio, Drama, and Stage Plays of the Philippine Association of State Universities and Colleges, National Arts Festival. And from 2002 to 2016, he was head of the Visual Arts section and of the Drama section from 2006 to 2007 of the VSU Culture and the Arts Center. The Special Program in the Arts, or SPA, of the DepEd Baybay City Division had him as their mentor and coach for visual arts, media arts, theater arts, and creative writing since 2013 up to present. At present, he is a Doctor of Philosophy candidate at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños for his doctorate degree in Development Communication with Extension Education as cognate. Here to share with us how to paint our stress away using acrylic painting, please welcome Professor Jude Nonie A. Salis. Sir Jude, please take it away.
Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, my colleagues at LRC. Thank you very much for inviting me once again. I'm so excited to share to you lessons on acrylic painting for beginners. To give you a short backgrounder about my journey to acrylic painting, I started way back in 1989 when I was studying painting with a mentor of mine from Cebu, the late Raji Palanca. So it was a relatively new medium, and the availability of the material was not yet very popular. So I still have to travel to Cebu City to purchase my supplies. So last week when I was reminded about the webinar, I actually suggested to Ma'am Cheryl where some of our students can buy their supplies close by, but usually on my part, I buy my supplies. I'm not endorsing National Bookstore, but I usually buy my supplies at National Bookstore and also at Fully Booked. No, so I'm not trying to endorse these art supply stores, but they are the most popular art stores that carry supplies on acrylic painting. But right now with the pandemic, personally, I order my supplies through online stores. No, so we have a lot of online stores around locally. You don't have to convert your peso to dollars all the time, or you can just use your credit card or have the COD option for your purchases. So anyway, online stores are selling materials that have reasonable prices. So hindi kailangan na you have to buy the really expensive ones unless you want to go professionally or go serious about your painting. No? So Ma'am Cheryl, we may now start with my presentation.
Perhaps the most important and far-reaching advancement in artists' materials in the last 100 years has been the formulation of water-mixable acrylic paint. Acrylic resins were formulated in the 1920s and 1930s. Although it took several years before a liquid acrylic emulsion that dried to a clear film was used to carry and bind together pigment. The first commercially available paint based on these emulsions was made available in the 1950s. Acrylic paint can be mixed with a wide range of acrylic mediums and additives and is thinned with water. Unlike oil paint, it dries quickly and the paint film remains extremely flexible and will not crack. The paint can be used with a wide range of techniques, from thick impasto, as with oil paint, to thin, semi-transparent washes, as with watercolor. Acrylic paint should not be thought of as an alternative to either, however, but as a very adaptable and unique painting material in its own right. Acrylic paint is made by suspending pigment in an acrylic emulsion. In some paint formulations, several slightly different emulsions are combined. The paint may also contain various dispersants to ensure the uniform distribution of pigments, defoamers, preservatives, and thickeners. Acrylic paints come in 3 different consistencies. Tube paints tend to be of a buttery consistency and holds its shape when squeezed from the tube. Tub paint is thinner and creamier in consistency, which makes it easier to brush out and cover large areas. There are also liquid acrylic colors that are the consistency of ink and are often sold as acrylic inks. It has been suggested that because they are made using slightly different formulations, you should not mix together paint from different manufacturers. You may experience no problems in mixing different brands or consistencies of paint, but it is always good practice to follow manufacturers' instructions. The pigments of acrylic paints are bound with acrylic resin that is water-soluble and virtually odor-free. Because it is water-soluble, the paint is very easy to use, requiring only the addition of clean water. Water is also all that is needed to clean up wet paint after a work session. Once it has dried, however, acrylic paint creates a permanent, hard, flexible film that will not fade or crack, and is impervious to further applications of acrylic or oil paint and any of their associated mediums or solvents. Acrylic paint dries relatively quickly. A thin film will be touch dry in a few minutes, and even thicker applications dry in a matter of hours. Unlike oil paints, all acrylic colors, depending on the thickness of the paint used, dry at the same rate. Although hardened paint can be removed with strong paint strippers, this will quickly ruin your brushes. Wet paint, however, can be easily removed by rinsing with water. Try to get into the habit of rinsing your brushes regularly as you work. Paint can also quickly dry on the palette, although you can avoid this by laying out and mixing only small quantities of paint and by spraying your palette periodically with clean water or using a special stay wet palette. Brushes are the obvious means of applying paint to the support, and a wide range is available. The marks they make depend on the size, shape, material of the brush, and the kind of strokes used. Stiff brushes are stiff and unbending and creates definite shape marks. Sable, synthetics, and their mixes are more pliable and create a softer mark. If you apply acrylic paint thinly, you can use watercolor brushes. There are also many other things that you can use to make marks when painting with acrylic paint. Some are designed specifically for painting, while others are household or office items. You can use fabrics, pieces of cardboard, out-of-date credit cards, aluminum foil, plastic food wrap, tissue paper, sponges, and even your plain fingers. With these things, you can use them to apply short strokes, round marks, long strokes, dots, rough, even texture, or smooth, even texture. There are also painting knives available in several shapes and sizes in both metal and plastic. They are ideal for thick, impasto-like applications. You can use them to produce marks that are broad, thin, dotted, short, or thin marks. For this demonstration, I am going to use a photograph of a still life of vegetables. I am going to transfer the composition from the photo to the canvas. Usually, the original photo is enlarged quite a bit and photocopied or printed in black and white. We measure the length and the width of the photo in centimeters and also measure the canvas in inches. We scale up centimeters to inches. If the grid on the photo is 15 centimeters across, then we have to make 15 inches across the canvas. The number of grids on the canvas should contain the same number of squares from the photo. You may also do the reverse if you want to reduce the size of your drawing. An underdrawing is the same as a preliminary sketch on the canvas or paper, over which you paint your picture, although some artists launch straight into a painting. However, people who are new to painting like the reassurance that an underdrawing provides. It allows you to set down the lines of your subject and give you the chance to erase and change them if necessary before you commit yourself irrevocably to paint. You can make your underdrawing with a lead pencil if your subject matter is filled with details. You can use charcoal pencil if your subject matter is an overall impression of a subject matter like sweeping lines or large shapes or shadows. If you are already comfortable with holding a brush, you may use it for painting lines for your underdrawing in portraits. The color choice is burnt sienna, burnt umber, or red, as they have hints of the warm flesh tone of human skin. For beginners, I recommend that you start painting with acrylics alla prima. The term comes from the Italian phrase at the first and used to describe a work that is completed in a single session. There is a saying that value does the work, color gets the credit. This demonstration provides the opportunity to relate colors with value. You may be surprised to discover that colors that you think of being very different are similar in value. In this demo, the process is painting light to dark. Working from light to dark values allows you to build up the tones very gradually. It is often hard to be sure in the early stages that you've got things right, so be prepared to reassess matters once you've put down several values, then make adjustments if necessary.
Audio Jungle.
Using a pencil, make a careful drawing of the photo reference on your canvas. Establishing the shapes of the vegetables will make it easier later on. Do not deal on the minute details first. Mix the background colors first and make a more diluted mix. Start with the lightest colors of the vegetables and gradually darken their values. Do not overblend your colors or else they will become muddy. You allow the colors to dry slowly, or if you are impatient, you may use a hair dryer to hasten the drying time. Be careful not to make the hair dryer come too close to the canvas. Evenly make a sweeping motion at a distance of at least 8 inches. Step back from your painting every now and then and compare the values and colors from the photograph reference. If you already captured the essence of your subject matter, finalize by making the necessary adjustments. Learn to stop. Stop painting and wash your brushes so as not to be tempted to overwork your painting. For most beginners, it is best that you work on small canvases with simple, easy-to-do subject matter for the meantime, so that you can finish a painting in a short period of time with enough enthusiasm left. Be inspired and do not procrastinate on your first attempt on acrylic painting. It is natural to commit mistakes. The more you paint, the more confident you will be the next time around. Think of painting as a fun exercise and not work. You paint because you want to distress and not to be stressed. Now that you have made your own acrylic painting, I wish that you enjoy your next artistic journey with acrylic painting. See you again next time for another painting lesson.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Jude, for
Hi.
sharing your talent po talaga, sir. Grabe talaga, nakaka-amaze ka. Ang dami na namang namin natutunan sa inyo. All right, so, sir, we will now move forward with our question and answer portion. So,
Okay, I'm ready to
kung
answer your questions.
Yes po. Kung may mga questions po kayo regarding acrylic painting or may gusto po kayong mga itanong kay sir, i-clarify, sige po, you have now the chance. At sasagutin po yan ni Sir Jude. Pero bago po yan, sir, shout out po muna tayo. Shout out sa ating mga early birds sa FB Live kay Ma'am Lynette ng DevCom po, ang ating professor po from CDC, si Ma'am Lynette. Sila Sir Enzo Zamudio from Partido State University. Classmate po namin ni Sir Jude, si Sir Enzo, sir. Nung tayo ay nag-conduct ng art activity sa ating mga senior citizens. Ano po? At kay Ma'am Alicia Kikoy, kay Ma'am Liz Cabrera, sa mga nakatutok po from Mindanao State University, Marawi City, mga taga VSU main campus po sa Baybay Leyte. Maraming salamat po, lalo na sa team ni Sir Jude na tumulong sa kanya sa production. May mga nakatutok rin tayo, sir, from Ontario, Canada, Ilocos Norte, Davao City, Cebu City, Negros Occidental, sa malayong lugar ng Siniloan, Laguna, Barcelona, Sorsogon, at marami pa po. So, just let us know po kung saan po kayo nanonood. And if you have questions po, just please feel free to drop them or comment them down below in our comment section box. Alright. Ako po, sir, medyo ano pa ako, sir, ano po bang may advice niyo, sir, sa mga tao na parang medyo hesitant pa? Kasi pag sinabing acrylic, di ba, sir, medyo parang feeling ko complicated, ganyan, madaming strokes, or tama kaya yung timpla ko, ganyan. Ano po yung pwede niyo, sir, na ipayo sa mga katulad po namin na medyo hesitant pagka painting ng acrylic ang gagamitin?
Okay, so usually, yung advice ko sa kanila is, first and foremost, if you want to venture into this kind of medium, acrylic painting, yung una nyong gagawin is you have to buy your paint set. No? So Kasi it would be very useful for beginners to first test the material. No, for example, after buying your acrylic set, based from the introduction that I gave in my presentation, dapat you have to test the materials yourself. So, wag mo nang gamitin yung paint to make a painting, but try to experiment on how the colors behave with your brush. So instead of using canvas kaagad, you may just use a piece of illustration board or a piece of paper. Kasi yung acrylic can also be used with paper, thick paper, and cardboard. So practicing and familiarizing on the medium will develop confidence in you that kung gagamitin mo na for a painting, alam mo na yung gagawin. So alam mo na kung paano siya i-dilute with water, gaano karami yung water na gagamitin, and then paano mag-adjust ng tone and values, etc. So paano siya i-mix, ganon. And you will be able to also assess kung how fast it will dry. Kasi most of us have no time to paint the whole day kasi meron tayong mga ibang trabaho, and of course we want to have painting as a hobby or as a means of relaxation. So ayaw naman natin na maging stress tayo sa painting. So to be more relaxing, we paint in small pieces. So gaya ng bond paper size or 16 by 20 at most, yung recommend ko na size na for canvases. So after familiarizing on the paint, alam mo na kung ilang minuto maging dry, alam mo na kung ano yung mga challenges sa brushing, alam mo na yung anong yung best brush na gamitin for a particular area. So before you venture into the actual painting process, at the back of your mind, meron ka ng idea kung anong mangyayari if you use such technique on a particular surface. So at least hindi masasayang yung canvas na binili mo. So usually most beginners, when they paint, pag hindi ma-meet nila yung expectations nila, kung lalabas na pangit yung painting na first attempt, they will put their brushes down, i-shelf na nila yung canvas nila, and they will procrastinate. So hindi yun maganda. So you try to gradually feel the medium, gradually feel the technique, and then once ready na yung ano mo, yung pulso mo, yung confidence mo, then you try to come up with your project. So hindi naman yun masterpiece, but it's a venture for your self-confidence. So self-confidence also relieves stress. So if you are not sure sa direction mo, you will not be relaxed. So that's what I do. That's the advice that I give to my students. So you don't force yourself to be painting kung sa tingin mo you're not yet prepared to venture on making a particular piece. Tapos isang advice rin is to visit art museums, visit art galleries, tapos you study the works of other artists, tingnan mo, you look at the paintings closely, tingnan mo kung gaano kakapal, gaano kanipis, or you talk to other artists in the art galleries or in the museums. Then you ask them paano nila ginawa, how did they start themselves. So yung a little bit of mga backgrounder about the medium will boost your self-confidence para as a beginner, hindi ka masyadong matakot to try and para hindi ka rin mag-procrastinate.
All right, thank you, Sir Jude. So I hope that answers yung question naming mga at na mga nag-hesitate pa. So maganda po yung sinabi niyo, sir, na hindi naman kailangan obra maestra kaagad kasi
yes.
Ako po personally, ang take ko po doon sa art, I've seen somewhere na hindi mo naman kailangan maging perfect talaga doon sa gusto mong gawin. You're just doing it not for you to show it to others, but for you, for yourself na mag-distress ka, ma-relax ka, and you're happy with it. Ano man yung
yes.
resulta, di ba po, sir? Ayan. Yun po yung maganda kay Sir Jude pag talagang nagtuturo siya. Sisimulan niya po sa simple muna. At yung nakikita niyo pong painting sa likod niya, yan po yung ginawa niya. Yung peppers. Ayan. Alright. So sir, meron po pong isang question sa Zoom naman natin kay Ma'am Bench daw po. Paano daw po mag-prepare ng grid line? Paano daw po siya i-prepare?
Okay. Usually, yung grid line, you just use a pencil or a pen. No? Usually, yung ginagawa ko, I don't use the actual photo na yung printout photo kasi for example, you have your photo developed in a photo developing center or you print it in a photo paper. Sayang naman yun na madadamage. Yung ginagawa ko, yung original na photo printed on photo paper, i-photocopy ko yun. So, when I photocopy, at least ordinary paper lang yung printing. So, doon ako gumagawa ng grid lines ko. So, in my presentation, sabi ko, kung how big is the length and width of your expected na canvas. For example, yung canvas mo ay 16 by 20, tapos yun ang gusto mong gamitin for your painting, dapat yung part ng photo na gagamitin mo is also 16 by 20 yung grid line. So most of the time, yung photo ay maliit compared to the actual canvas that you will be using. So ang ginagawa ko, I try to print a photo na pwede ko lang siya magawa ng grids na in centimeters. And then I will try to relate it to the size of the canvas, for example, na 16 by 20. So dapat 16 by 20 cm yung grids doon sa photo, tapos 16 by 20 inches doon sa canvas, no? But kung gusto mong gawin na mas maliit, so pwedeng centimeter to centimeter or from inches, you reduce it down to centimeters, no? So usually ang centimeter kino-convert sa inches para maging mas malaki yung magagawa mong drawing. So usually yung ang principle ng grid drawing, kung ano years or anong parts ng nandun sa photo ang makikita mo in a particular grid, yun yung i-transfer mo dun sa grid na mas malaki sa canvas mo. And usually, when you do that, light pencil marks lang. Wag yung dark pencil marks. Kasi in case na magkakamali ka, yung resulta, you need to really erase very hard. And you have to remember na minsan kung napaka-dark naman ng pencil mark mo sa canvas, since canvas is rough, tapos yung fiber ng canvas cloth is very thick, may tendency na yung marks parang difficult to erase. But anyway, you don't have to worry because once you start painting, whatever mark that you have made on the canvas will be covered by the acrylic paint. So it depends din on the technique that you're using. So if you're using highly thin paint, ang advice ko doon is to carefully draw yung image from your transfer kasi makikita naman yun in the subsequent layers kasi you can really thin the paint like watercolor. So yung iba, yung ginagawa nila, they use tracing paper. Instead of directly making the grids on the canvas, doon sila sa tracing paper gagawa ng malalaking grids. Then they transfer the image from the photo to the tracing paper. Then pag natapos na yung image on the tracing paper, lagyan nila ng yung carbon paper, yung likod ng tracing paper. Tapos they put it on top of the canvas and they trace on top of the tracing paper. So yung image from the tracing paper will be transferred to the canvas through the carbon paper. But it's a very taxing kind of work, no? Unless you want that your canvas will be very clean because you're using a very thin layer of acrylic paint na matatakot ka na makikita yung mga erasures at mga mali-maling mga lines during the transfer process. Okay.
Thank you so much, Sir Jude. So I hope that answers the question of Ma'am Benj kasi talagang excited po siyang mag-paint. Ayan.
Go, Ma'am Bench.
Another question po from Naylin Onavilla. Sabi niya, Sir, how many hours were you able to finish the painting po na pinakita niyo po?
The painting that you saw was hyperlapsed because I don't want you to get bored naman watching me painting in actual time. Yung painting, ginawa ko lang within an hour. So, wala akong, non-stop yun. We just edited the video na mag-hyperlapse. May mga portion na we set it to normal para makikita nyo in the normal way gagawin, especially yung preparatory drawings. And then, yung may mga portions doon na gusto kong makikita na in real time talaga yung pag-apply ng mga techniques. But 1 hour lang siya. So kaya nga ini-encourage ko na di masyadong malaki yung canvas for as a beginner because I want you to appreciate acrylic painting as a painting na madali gawin, no? So water-based siya, quick drying siya, tapos you don't have to wait for a long time unlike oil painting na it will take you months to wait before you can frame it or before you can varnish it. Yung acrylic painting, pwede na siyang ma-frame mo after 72 hours kasi completely dry na yun. You can directly frame it on its stretcher or pwede mong tanggalin sa stretcher yung canvas and transfer it into another board for framing. So alam na ng mga framers yun. But most of the time, yung acrylic painting can also be done in several days. So for the purpose of the demonstration, pumili ako ng subject matter na common, yung makikita nyo lang sa kusina like sweet and hot peppers, yung makikita nyo lang sa pantry nyo sa bahay. And then at least the composition is very simple, ilang linya lang, ma-form mo na yung figure. So the demonstration itself is an example how should beginners start their own painting. Huwag kayong pumili ng mga subject matter na highly detailed on your first attempt. So it might be just a piece of fruit, a single flower with buds and petals, or toys. Gamitin yan with a plain background. So usually ang pinaka-challenging dyan, which will delay the painting process, is that complicated yung background ng painting. Tapos detailed pa yung parts ng object na gagamitin mo. So it will really take time. So for highly detailed acrylic paintings, personally, on my experience, I will be able to finish one painting, especially yung malalaki, yung mga 3x4 feet. Matatapos ko yan within 2 to 3 weeks, no? Depending on the level of difficulty and the details. Pero yung mga simple subjects, tapos pang-loosen up lang, kasi minsan yung artist nabu-burn out din yon, nasi-stress din yon sa maraming mga commissions or maraming trabaho. So yung ginagawa ng mga artist, they paint artworks na hindi for sale or hindi for commission, but these are paintings that will make them relax, explore new possibilities, explore new techniques, or paintings that they can just finish within an hour. Paintings that don't need comments from critics, or paintings that do not warrant very exact stroke. So ganon. So as a beginner, ganon din yung gagawin nyo. Don't be conscious about your strokes. Don't be conscious about your colors. Just try to follow some technical instructions gaya ng pinakita ko sa demonstration ko na step by step para you won't be bored. No? So in case na yung painting nyo hindi matatapos within an hour, tapos medyo napagod na kayo, don't force yourself to finish it within an hour. You can just set it aside. Sabi ko nga sa advice ko doon sa demo na kung sa tingin mo you have achieved the essence of the subject matter that you want to paint, then wash your brush, set it aside, or let your painting face the wall, and then return to your painting an hour or two after you took coffee. So ang ginagawa ko minsan, kung medyo pagod na ako magpipaint, especially highly detailed na mga paintings, I leave the studio, wash my brushes. Kasi if you don't wash your acrylic brushes, titigas yun because the drying time is very fast. So, and don't also leave your brushes soaked in the tub of water, no? In the wash bottle. Don't leave. Kasi masisira yung bristles. So you have to rinse. Kahit hindi mo lang sabunan, you just rinse it, wipe it with cloth, set it aside, relax ka muna, have coffee, then return back to your painting after an hour or two with fresh eyes. Or you can set aside your painting first, magluto ka muna, maglinis ka ng bahay, pag-relax ka na, bumalik ka na naman sa painting mo. And then, but before you sleep at night, yung brushes na ginamit mo on that day of painting, dapat sabunan mo. You use dishwashing liquid or shampoo to wash your brushes para malinis siya before you put them away during the night. Tapos if the following day hindi ka pa pwede makapag-paint, so confident ka na yung brushes mo hindi masisira. And then be sure to close the acrylic tubes or tubs tightly kasi pag mapasukan niya ng hangin yung tubes, titigas yan. So sayang naman, you'll be investing money on your materials tapos masisira lang. And the unfinished canvas, pwede mo siyang i-hair dryer or let it dry naturally before storing. So wag mo naman i-store na nakapatong yung ibang mga canvases on top of an unfinished painting. Masisira naman yun. So just put it in a well-ventilated place, away from your pets. Kung meron kang mga pets, baka ngat-ngatin yung canvas mo or meron kang little kids, baka pakialaman yung yung painting mo, you might be surprised na nasira yung painting mo because your kid wipe it with his or her hand. So yun lang. And usually small paintings can be finished in a short period of time.
All right, thank you, sir. So I hope that answers the question of Miss Naylin Onavilla. And we have her a comment, sir, from Ma'am Lynette. Sabi niya, best advice I've heard, stop to wash your brush so you don't overpaint.
Regards, Ma'am Lynette.
Ang dami nating questions, sir, dito. Pero shoutout muna tayo kay Joseph Hermitanio. Talagang ano po yan, avid po nating talagang tagapakinig ng mga webinar series. And then from Orly Paul Fortes, thanks Prof. Jude. Can we have oil painting too? Thank you so much. Sabi po ni Orly.
Depende yan sa LRC. Kung magre-request na naman sila ng isang webinar for oil painting.
Sige po, titingnan po natin yan.
Yes, yes.
Another question po from Christine Erica. Is it good to always use references when painting?
For that question, usually there are several reasons why we use photo references. Okay, yung artists have different choices. You may use actual subject matter. So if you have actual fruits in your kitchen, you can just arrange them in a bowl or in a plate. Then you put it in front of you. Then you try to paint it in front of you. Or kung wala kang, ang reason why we use photographs is that wala tayong panahon na mag-set up ng mga objects or wala tayong panahon na travel sa labas to paint actual landscape. So that's why we take photos. But on the other side, kung sabihin mo na wala ka talagang basihan, wala kang titingnan na actual or kahit photo, pwede din yan based from your imagination. But usually, most artists, when they do that, dapat yung yung gagawin mong subject matter, very familiar ka. So for example, you want to paint a landscape based from your memory. So dapat you have to really visit the landscape or the view or become more familiar with the object, and you can memorize the image in your mind, and then kung very photographic yung memory mo, you can really paint the object well in its full detail. But even professional artists, even though they paint in the actual landscape, they paint actual objects, they still take photos of the landscape and the actual objects for as a reference when they go back to the studio. Kasi we can sometimes sasabihin natin, okay, photographic yung ano natin, yung utak natin, ating mata, very it can record scenes effectively, but hindi sa lahat ng panahon we can really pick up the details and remember the details, no? So, and sometimes it's also very important na meron tayong mga photographic references aside from the real thing. Is, for example, yung fruit natin, yung vegetable natin, hindi naman yun magla-last forever. Okay, it will rot. It will become damaged after several days. Mag-shrivel siya, yung leaves, etc. Mahuhulog na yung mga petals, malalagas na. So, it's important na meron tayong photo reference. And if you want to do another painting after 1 year, after 2 years of the same subject, kasi na-inspire tayo to do it again, then meron tayong photo, no? Or we can still refer to the photo and recreate the ones that we have set up in the studio. So another reason why some artists don't use reference is that these artists are more interested in making abstract painting. So it's more of getting inspiration from their feelings and moods instead of what they really see through their eyes, no? Tapos some artists are not also enjoying yung real objects ang gagawin nila. So they enjoy painting with shading, with color, with shapes, either natural shapes or geometric shapes. So it really depends on the availability of the material and the inclination of the artist when it comes to the use of references.
All right, thank you, Sir Jude. And another question po from Joanne Gigatara. Sir, paano daw po pag walang canvas? Ano pwedeng i-substitute kapag wala daw pong canvas na magamit?
Okay. Merong mga taong, there's a trend right now in the art world na ini-encourage yung artist na mag-repurpose ng mga materials sa loob ng kanilang bahay. So, I have met artists na yung mga old na mga cotton shirts nila ginagamit nilang canvas. Mga lumang kurtina ginagamit nilang canvas. So usually if you use these repurposed fabrics in your home, wag mong gamitin yung mga fabrics na napakakapal tapos and holds moisture so much, no? So pumili ka ng mga fabrics sa bahay mo na i-repurpose mo. Yung mga fabrics na medyo nipis, tapos hindi naman malalaki yung yung butas ng fabric because there are fabrics na tight yung weave. So yun ang magaganda. And then when you just staple it in a piece of plyboard and then at the back you staple it at the back para mag-stretch siya, no, on top of the plywood. And then you paint the surface of the repurposed fabric with white gloss latex paint. So mga dalawang coats. So let it dry in between coats. No? So you can just dry it under the sun. Pag dry niya, apply ka na naman ng other coat. So that is to protect the fabric from being damaged in the near future. No? So usually yung fabric na walang base coating will become eaten up by the pigment of the paint, especially oil paint. Yung acrylic hindi masyadong makaka-damage doon ng fabric, but ang tendency if you don't prime the surface of your fabric, yung problema doon, yung paint mo will maglulusot sa fabric, it will be absorbed fast. Kasi yung yung coating on top na yung latex paint will prevent the paint from being absorbed. Tapos it also strengthens the integrity of the canvas. So yan, repurposed fabric sa bahay because we're trying to be very environment friendly, no? But if you don't like fabric or wala kang fabric na pwede ma-repurpose sa bahay, you can use illustration board, no? Artist illustration board. Yung white sa harap, tapos gray or black sa likod. Meron ding mga artist illustration boards, yung medyo mahal, white ang both sides. No? So you can go to the bookstore, ask for illustration board in different sizes. You can also use craft paper, no? Yung ginagamit natin for wrapping or for making paper bags, pwede natin magamit yon. And even cartolina. No? So yung ano lang, ang drawback lang on paper when using acrylic is that kung hindi mo is in stretch, no? We will have that topic on stretching on watercolor painting the next time around, and I will explain to you bakit mag-stretch tayo ng papel. But the main factor why ayaw kong pagamitin yung students ko ng paper na manipis with acrylic painting is that when acrylic dries as a thin film, it tries to pull the fiber of the paper towards the center. Tapos it cockles and crinkles. So hindi magandang tingnan. So it's difficult to flatten an acrylic painting done on a crumpled or crinkled paper. So ang pinaka maganda talaga is canvas because it can also last a lifetime. So non-fading yung acrylic paint, it's also waterproof once it's dried unless na-soak yung painting mo in a flood. So binaha yung bahay nyo, yung painting mo nasa tabi, nakalimutan mong ihang, and then it's submerged in water. Merong tendency na mag-flake or mag-fade siya because it's soaked in water. But kung ano lang, sprinkling of water lang, like light sprinkling of the rain, or meron lang natapo na baso on top of a painting, you can just pat it dry with a soft cloth. Hindi madaling masira yon if on canvas. So yung canvas ay ang magandang material because archival siya. So most canvases are designed for painting and are also designed to last a lifetime.
All right, thank you, Sir Jude. May question po si Sir Chico, Sir Jude, kung pwede daw po yung katsa lang? Pwede daw po yung katsa?
Yes, yung katsa is a type of artist canvas din. So during my elementary years, I have observed artists na they buy flour sacks, yung sako ng arena. So yun ang ginagamit nila, nilalabhan nila yon. Sometimes they bleach it and dry it completely under the sun. Tapos yun ang ginagamit nila. Canvases come in different grades. Merong thin, medium, and thick. So usually we use the medium thick canvas kasi hindi siya mahirap i-stretch with you and na canvas, okay din yun. Okay siya if your painting technique is manipis. But there is a tendency na merong mga painting techniques na hindi pwede sa nipis na canvas because meron ding tendency na yung canvas na medyo manipis will be pulled towards the center. So yung mas manipis na grade na canvas ay okay lang siya if the size of the canvas is small, so like 11 by 15 or 16 by 20 inches. But if the canvas size will become bigger than 3 feet, 4 feet, I recommend yung medium thickness na canvas din. So yung katsa, mostly ang katsa is meron din siyang manipis at medium. Yung thick na katsa ay medyo pwede din gamitin sa painting but it absorbs so much base coat at matagal siyang mag-dry when you use it for painting kasi makapal na siya. And usually a thick katsa is used for upholstery or for even for paggawa ng mga tents. No, so ang ideal katsa or canvas to use is yung medium and thin lang. Yung thick, you reserve it for upholstery na lang.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much po. Another, siguro po, relevant question din. I'm planning to paint my cement and clay pots with acrylic medium. Is it applicable po? Ang sabi po ni Aizel Sevilla Marzan. Siguro plantita siya, sir.
Okay. Meron tayong dalawang klaseng acrylic paints. Yung ginamit ko in my demo ngayong umaga is the artist quality acrylic paint. Meron din tayong industrial acrylic paints. Yung ginagamit natin for cement, and even wood, no? Meron din tayong sprayable na acrylic paint, yung in can na ginagamit for automotive coloring, and there's also being used for furniture. So when you buy your acrylic paint to be used for your pots, both artist grade and industrial grade acrylic paints can be used.
All right. So I hope that answers your question, Miss Aizel. Another question po, sir, is from Tina Gokingko. Sabi niya po ay, what can you say about paint numbers? I have painted ever before. I haven't painted ever before doing your style.
Okay. I'm not against painting by numbers kasi painting by numbers can also help build your self-confidence. But after watching my demo this morning, I'm encouraging you to try yourself painting without using painting by numbers. So you may use the pattern in the painting by numbers, but don't try to follow the numbering. Instead, go out of your own way, use your own judgment on what type of colors or what kind of colors that you're going to use. So pwede din yun. So di ba usually when we paint by numbers, meron tayong pattern, there's a pattern included. So yung gagawin mo, you may use a tracing paper and carbon paper, i-trace mo on top yung pattern ng paint by numbers mo on top of your canvas. Tapos don't follow the guide anymore in the numbers. You just paint the drawing from the painting and numbers guide using your own judgment and using your own choice of colors. At least it's a good start for you to gain more confidence in painting without referring to a number guide.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Jude. So I hope that answers your question, Tina. Another question is from Nea Passion, sir. Sabi niya po ay, how is acrylic different to gouache? Thank you po for sharing your knowledge, sir.
Okay. Actually, it's gouache. No, it's
gouache.
Pronounced as gouache. Gouache is under the family of watercolors. It's not an acrylic paint. But right now, manufacturers are trying to make hybrids. So meron tayong tinatawag na gouache acrylic hybrid. So gouache yung paint, pero meron siyang characteristics. So meron yung dalawang ingredients i-combine. But if we'll try to talk about gouache, gouache is under the watercolor family and it is classified as an opaque watercolor. Opaque siya kasi meron siyang mixture na mas maraming tinting pigment. Meron siyang mix na more of a chemical that tries to block transparency. Meaning, okay, I'll give you an example. Kunyari, you want to make a green color. So sa watercolor or sa acrylic, you can thin the colors with water. So for example, in acrylic, magkulay ka ng dahon. So you draw a leaf, then you apply a thin layer of yellow and you allow the yellow to dry. And then mag-mix ka na naman ng very thin mixture of blue. Tapos i-brush mo on top of the yellow. Ang mangyayari doon, you will be producing a green color because yung yellow sa ilalim na ikinulay mo will try to blend with the blue on top, no? So it shows through. So transparent, translucent yung layers of color. Yung gouache, iba siya. If you apply yellow first, then allow the yellow to dry, tapos mag-apply ka ng blue on top, hindi ka makakaproduce ng green. Kasi tatabunan ng blue yung yellow sa ilalim. Unless you really mix your gouache color, dilute it very well with water, then merong konting kulay na makikita sa ilalim. So gouache is not an acrylic, does not belong to the acrylic family, but it belongs to the watercolor family na opaque.
All right. Thank you very much for clarifying that, sir. And we have still more questions, sir. So just keep on coming po yung mga questions po ninyo, no? From Miss Alicia Kikoy, Hi, Sir Jude. Kahit po ba walang talent sa arts, pwede pa rin makapag-paint?
That is a very challenging question. Okay. First and foremost, kahit wala kang talent sa art, if you are interested to commit yourself to art, you will learn how to paint, no? So usually yung ganong mga learners ko, what I do is I don't give them exercises na nakakanega, nakaka-stress. So usually when these people who enroll in art workshops that we organize is the first thing that I tell them is, okay, I'm giving you pieces of paper, take out your pencils, draw anything that you like. So parang parang assessment siya kung ano talaga yung level ng skill niya. So pag nakita ko na medyo medyo hindi magaling yung strokes, medyo hindi pa confident yung strokes, I usually tell them not to immediately venture into mga figurative na mga drawings, yung gagawa kagad ng mga shapes, kokopya agad ng mga photos, kokopya agad ng mga figures for still life. Yung in-encourage ko is try to start making marks, no? So it usually starts there. So get a piece of paper, with a pencil, draw marks, no? Gagawa ka ng mga series of zigzags, circles, just to create muscle memory sa kamay mo, no? So the muscle memory will be developed through time na yung lines mo, makakagawa ka ng straight lines even without using a ruler, or you use crayon, you try to rub crayon and you try to mix colors with crayon, or get an acrylic paint, you brush acrylic paint, mix the colors, etc. And then eventually, the more that your hands will become familiar with the brush and the colors that you're using, or the pencil and the paper that you're using, automatic na yon. You will just be surprised na when you start venturing into more advanced na mga lessons like drawing figures, coloring figures, you will be surprised na parang sasabihin mo sa sarili mo, it's a miracle. Nakagawa ko ng art even if I'm not artistically inclined.
All right, thank you, sir. So kahit hindi ka talaga artistically inclined, you can still paint if you are really interested. Yan, magandang advice. Another question, sir, from Virgilio Crisostomo. How do you protect your finished painting in acrylic to make it last? And then how about also for oil painting?
Okay. So first, I will answer your question about how to protect your painting in acrylic. Okay, what's nice about especially acrylic paintings done on paper or cardboard, there is a special spray, a special sprayable varnish for acrylic. You can buy it commercially. Or you may use a brushable acrylic varnish, which you can buy in bookstores or you can buy online. No? You just try to research about it. There are so many brands. I cannot endorse a specific brand here, but they are acrylic varnish. They're called acrylic varnish. So you can choose between matte. Yung matte, hindi shiny yung varnish niya, medyo flat lang siya. And also the glossy, kung gusto mong medyo glossy yung surface. So you can use acrylic varnish in both thick paper and canvas. So yon ang isang way to protect your work, no? Because most acrylic varnishes, it protects the painting from UV light, ultraviolet light. But acrylic paints are not sensitive so much with acrylic light. Kahit nakaharap pa yung painting to direct sunlight from your window, hindi masyadong maapektuhan, unlike watercolor and also oil, no, na sensitive yung pigments. But to be sure or to be confident na yung painting mo ay hindi malulusaw, hindi siya mag-fade through the years, just don't allow your painting to face direct sunlight, or wag mo namang i-position close to a window or in front of a window na it will be hit by direct sunlight in the morning or in the afternoon, no? So away from the light. Usually yung paintings, kahit sa museums, bawal yung direct sunlight sa mga paintings. They just use artificial lights na medyo angled in a certain way na hindi naman sila direct hit yung yung painting. And then another way to protect your acrylic painting is to frame it under glass. No, so there are collectors who frame even their acrylic paintings na in canvas under glass. But usually kung nasa canvas yung acrylic painting mo, hindi na kailangan lagyan ng glass yung frame. You can just frame it tapos walang glass. Pero yung acrylic painting done on paper or cardboard, kailangan may glass yung frame. Bakit? Because yung paper and paperboard are more sensitive to molds, dust, and moisture compared to cloth. No? So dapat importante yon. And then when you have your artworks framed, your acrylic artworks framed, kailangan yung likod ng frame mo properly sealed yon ng tape na walang insektong makapasok. So yung enemy natin sa mga paintings, sa acrylic paintings natin ay yung mga insects na kumakain ng fabric, ng paper, or molds. So do not place your acrylic paintings or even especially oil paintings in damp places. So dapat in a well-circulated maganda yung circulation ng room, air circulation ng room. Tapos kung may nakita kang mold na tumutubo sa painting mo, you just get a cotton ball na may basain mo ng konting tubig, then you wipe it carefully on top of the area where nagmolds. Huwag mong applyan ng Lysol or disinfectant or whatsoever or alcohol or other harsh chemicals, especially chlorine, yung painting mo. So all these things that I've been mentioning for acrylic painting is also applicable to oil paints. No, lalo na yung mga acrylic and oil paintings na may texture, use a soft brush to remove the dust. Huwag kang gumamit ng yung towel na pampaligo or fabric na when you wipe it on top of your painting, yung mga textures created by the paint matatanggal yon. So dapat highly textured paintings, dapat soft brush, soft dusting lang, tapos cotton ball with light moisture lang ng water. Tapos it's a very slow process, lalo na kung malaki yung painting mo, cleaning them is very tedious. So maliliit na cotton balls, inch by inch, trapuhan mo yan, you wipe it until wala nang things that try to make paintings dirty ay yung mga candles, smoke from the kitchen. So as much as possible, wag mong ilagay yung painting close to cooking stoves kasi yung mga oil, yung steam pupunta doon sa painting. So kung gusto mong i-decorate ang kitchen mo, dapat yung painting ay malayo doon sa cooking area so that steam, oil, and yung hot na fumes won't damage your painting. Yun lang.
Okay. Thank you, sir, sa tips. And nag-comment din po si Ma'am Alicia Kikoy. Sabi niya po, thank you po, Sir Jude. May pag-asa pa po pala ako.
Of course. Be very optimistic.
Okay. Another question, sir. This is naman po, about mga materials. Sabi po ni Audrey Batario, can you suggest online shops where you purchase your materials, yung mga may friendly prices po pero good quality? Sir, idugtong ko na rin yung kay Tina na question. Sabi niya, is there a brush set po for beginner daw po sa National Bookstore?
Okay. So first question, anong mga online na mga stores yung pwede nyong bilhan tapos medyo affordable din yung prices? Disclaimer lang, I'm not trying to endorse any online store here, but I can recommend these stores because doon din ako bumibili. Okay, one is Jovir online shop. Meron din silang physical na stores diyan sa Manila or close by. We have also the Oil Paint Store. Okay, Oil Paint Store. They have also a physical shop in Manila. We have also Art Nebula PH. So it's also a good store. It has a good collection of foreign brands na quality and professional brands. We have also Art Whale PH. So meron din silang online, meron din silang physical store. Artisan Manila, meron silang branch dyan sa Nuvali, meron din sa Nuvali sa Santa Rosa, meron silang branch dyan, and also an online shop. Para makita mo yung iba't ibang mga online art stores, you can just type sa Google na online art shops Philippines, tapos lalabas yung mga iba't ibang mga online art stores na nakakalat sa buong Pilipinas. And you can just browse to their websites, and meron naman silang catalog of available art materials na pwede mong bilhin. So meron din silang, but most art shops, yung option nila ay minsan lang yung mga COD. I'm not endorsing specific shops, ha. Lazada and Shopee have also art materials that they're selling, no? So ang maganda lang sa Shopee at Lazada, you can have the COD option. Kasi yung ibang mga shops na previously mentioned ko, mostly you have to use your credit card, your GCash, or your bank, make a bank deposit before they will deliver to your doorstep. So hintay ka lang ng mga 2 to 3 weeks kasi minsan yung art materials are still sourced abroad. Yun lang po.
All right. Thank you, Sir Jude. Kapag naman dito, sir, sa Los Baños, nagtanong ako sa iyo, sir, kung saan bibili. You said, pwedeng pumunta sa Macy's, pwedeng pumunta sa South supermarket. Meron din po sila doon mga canvases. And then sa National Bookstore. Tapos dito sa may tapat ng Robinson, sir, no, yung DV Mart natin dyan. Meron din daw po doon. Alright? And then, another question po ay, we have an interesting question from Che Tamayo. Sabi niya, sir, can you discuss a bit on how the painting reflects the personality of the artist?
Okay. Hindi lahat ng painting na ginagawa ng artist reflects their personality. Kasi yung painting, when an artist creates a painting, dalawang direction 'yon. Of course, when you create artwork, through time, maraming tao na gustong bumili sa artwork mo. So one of that is painting for personal satisfaction and painting for commissions, no, or exhibits. So usually, kung painting for commissions or art exhibits, sometimes artists paint because kung ano yung gustong or ano ba yung theme ng art exhibit, no? So usually it's dictated there. But dito sa other side, kung sasabihin mo na painting for personal satisfaction, doon mo talaga makikita yung personality ng artist. Kasi he's not painting for anyone else, but he's painting for himself. So doon mo makikita yung personal expression niya. Ano yung hugot niya without trying to consider the hugot of other people, without considering the hugot of the public, no? But sometimes artists subconsciously may integrate nila yung personality nila sa mga commissioned paintings nila or for exhibit paintings nila. Especially if you're an artist na nakadevelop na ng own style. No, maraming tayong mga artists na who have developed their own styles. Okay, I'll just try to cite artists na na-develop yung mga mga personal na mga characteristics, no? For example, Claude Monet. Claude Monet is an impressionist, French impressionist. Tapos meron siyang ginawang mga paintings during the onset of World War I. Tapos World War I, no? So and then yung frustration niya sa war was expressed through his paintings of the different ponds. Kasi meron siyang malaking garden sa bahay niya sa France. Tapos meron siyang water lily at Japanese garden doon. And he was actually commissioned by a friend na minister ng France before. And then na timing yon na si Claude Monet was a little bit old na. He was in his twilight years. May cataract pa siya. And he cannot see true colors anymore. So yung frustration niya, yung feelings niya about the war, about the Cold War, was expressed through his water lily pond paintings na walang horizon. So yung symbolism na walang horizon sa paintings niya, parang gusto niyang i-illustrate na sa giyera, parang hindi ka definite kung may future ka pa if you're involved in that. So yun ang pinaka-signature niya na nakita yung personality ni Claude Monet, yung feelings niya about a certain issue sa kanyang country.
All right, thank you, sir. Sir, mag-go back lang po ako dun sa materials. May nagtatanong ulit, sir. Can you recommend brands daw po for beginners? Brands po nung mga materials. Opo, for acrylic.
Okay. Yung for beginners, yung pinakamura na mga brands, we have the Reeves acrylic paint. We have also Sakura acrylic paints. We have also Art Ranger acrylic paints. So maraming mga paint brands for beginners. And usually for beginners, I recommend that you buy in sets. Yung maliliit lang na tubes, mga 37 ml tubes, 20 ml tubes. Huwag kayong bumili ng mga malalaking tubes na 120 ml, 250 ml. Kasi if you buy by piece, mahal yung isang tube. Merong mga acrylic paints na isang tube na 250 ml, it will cost about 700 to 900 pesos. Whereas kung bibili ka ng yung student grade na mga complete set, tapos mura, you can just buy one set for as cheap as 250 pesos. Tapos meron ka ng 12 to 14 colors doon. So I advise you to search catalogs in the internet, especially you just type Reeves or you just type Sakura or you just type Art Ranger, and makikita mo yung and also meron ding Artiza na brand. Okay, so yung mga high-end colors, yung mga high-end brands, yung mga golden acrylics, yung mga Liquitex, mahal na yon, yung mga Winsor & Newton, mga Daler Ronnie, yun pang professional level na yon. No, so meron tayong mga, kasi dalawang grade yung ating acrylic, and we have that we can search online.
All right, thank you, Sir Jude. Ayan, medyo nalolobat si Sir Jude.
Oo, nalobat na yung camera ko.
Opo, marami pa tayong questions, sir. Parang sobra silang
sige,
interested.
meron tayong backup na camera.
Yes, thank you so
medyo
much.
lang siya, medyo low qual.
Okay lang yan, sir. Okay naman po. And then another question, sir, ay from Tina ulit. Sabi niya po, what type of cloth and what if I wish to erase a paint I used? What do we need?
Okay. So she's asking how to erase the paint, or is she asking about what cloth to use?
Yes, sir. What cloth to use to erase a paint I used, and then what do we need?
Okay. So if she already painted on canvas, tapos the acrylic paint on canvas already dried, medyo mahirap na siyang i-erase. So usually, kung minor lang yung area na gusto niyang ma-erase, pwede lang na gumamit siya ng sandpaper, no? She can use sandpaper to erase that area. Pero kung makapal yung paint, I advise her to cover na lang, to cover the space na she committed mistake, no? Cover it with another layer of acrylic paint kung medyo makapal na. Kasi medyo kung manipis, she can just use the abrasive surface of a sandpaper. Pero light sanding lang, wag namang heavy sanding or else mabubutas yung canvas niya. Or there are also artists who use isopropyl alcohol dipped in cotton cloth, no? So yung mga old t-shirts na cotton, pwede mo yung i-dip sa isopropyl alcohol, tapos kung less than 2 hours pa nag-dry yung acrylic paint, makukuha mo yon using isopropyl alcohol. Pero kung after 24 hours, after 72 hours, parang ang hirap na ma-erase yon. I-overlay mo na lang ng acrylic paint yon. Yun talaga yung maibigay kong advice. And in terms of fabric, hindi lang fabric ang pwedeng i-wipe natin ng ating mga paints na if ever we commit mistake, you can just use kitchen paper towels, toilet paper, or materials na makaka-absorb ng paint.
Okay, thank you daw sir from Tina Gokinko. Meron po ba daw number yung sandpaper, sir? Doon sa
usually I recommend yung number 120 or yung medyo finer, kasi yung kung highly abrasive siya tapos yung canvas niya manipis tapos aggressive yung sanding niya, baka mabutas yung canvas, masayang. So just gradually just sand para matanggal lang yung yung nagkamaling part ng painting, then she can just overlay it with paint. Or kung medyo manipis lang yung paint na na-apply na nagkamali, she can just layer it with another layer of acrylic paint.
Okay, sir. I hope that answers your question, Tina. Talagang napaka-interested niya, sir. Talagang magsisimula na ito mag-acrylic painting siya. Another question from Cephus Quinones. Can you recommend book or books to read about acrylic painting daw po, sir?
Okay. Well, hindi ako loyalista to a certain author, but if you're trying to look for books in a bookstore on acrylic painting, pumili ka ng books na meron talagang word na basic or for beginners or fundamentals of acrylic painting, kasi doon ibinibigay yung mga techniques for beginners. Don't buy books or don't read references na yung mga advanced level na, kasi you will be frustrated kasi merong mga techniques, mga chemicals, mga additives na dinidiscuss doon na you will be overwhelmed. So pumili ka ng mga books na simple, easy instructions lang. Tapos as much as possible, yung mga exercises nila hindi masyadong mga loaded with tips or advice na paggagamitin ka ng mga medium na mga no? And then one tip pala, acrylic painting is good for people with allergic rhinitis like me. No, meron akong allergic rhinitis. So I'm comfortable with acrylic paint and watercolor. So that's why if I paint using oil paint, I usually do it outdoors. Meron akong special space sa bahay namin, parang veranda, where fresh air can circulate. Doon ako nag-oil painting. But with acrylics and watercolor, I can paint inside an air-conditioned room. No hassle, no worries about my allergies. No. So again, choose the books that are fundamental, introductory, basic, or websites na lang siya for beginners talaga yung mga tips na ibinibigay nila. So that you won't be overwhelmed sa mga techniques and advices which can discourage you to further advance your interest in acrylic painting.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Cephus. And then from Chris Gopela naman, sir, ang sabi niya po ay, yung grid line po ba from small picture can be applied to a big painting through counting of the same lines?
Yes. So yung example ko sa demo ko, it's 1 centimeter to 1 inch. But if your canvas is medyo malaki na, mga 3 by 4 feet, 4 by 6 feet, then pwede mo nang increase 1 cm to 2 inches square or 3 inches square. Okay? So kung medyo malaki-laki na yung painting, you also increase the dimension of your grid. No? So from 1 inch, gawin mo 2 inches to 3 inches. So usually, yung mga photo natin ay maliliit, then we use the 1 cm or half cm na scale. No? So, but kung hindi ka komportable na cm inches rin ang gagawin mo, then you have to enlarge your photo in a tarpaulin instead. So, usually, mas practical siya kung small photo in cm yung grids mo. Tapos, gagawin mo na lang, i-enlarge mo na lang into 1 inch or 2 inches square kung para mag-match dun sa dimension ng canvas na gagawin mo.
Alright, thank you, sir. Siguro po last question na tayo, sir, no?
Okay. No problem.
Ang dami nilang question kasi very interested sila talaga. Now, question po dito, sir, ay saan daw po kayo pwedeng ma-reach? How do we reach Dr. Salas for questions regarding acrylic painting after this session?
Okay, so I have an FB page which is Jude's Art, and we have also I'll be posting videos on YouTube in the near future. Actually, yung friend ko nag-encourage sa akin na mag-YouTube channel ka na kasi marami ka ng estudyante, marami na nagtatanong. And then I'm also excited to promote the sceneries, the good sceneries, the beautiful sceneries of Bye Bye City. Kaya I'm coming up with a YouTube channel in the near future na I'll visit major tourist spots or attractions or major destinations dito sa city namin, and I'll paint it in front of you live for YouTube. No? So at least makikita nila yung mga beautiful places namin, and they will learn a lot on how to capture such places or such views na pareho sa mga lugar din nila in a painting. So, but they can also communicate with LRC, and they can just contact you and ask you kung pwede ba silang mag-request for a special message for in Messenger, or kung gusto nilang mag-email sa akin for their concerns. And then di ba sa previous natin na lesson, meron akong Google Classroom na binuksan.
Yes, sir.
Oo, kung nakuha niyo yung yung link doon, I can also share again to you para doon na lang sila magpakita ng artworks nila or mag-inquire if in case.
Or better yet, sir, they can post sa FB tapos gamit po nila yung hashtag natin so that everyone can see, everyone will be inspired to do their own acrylic painting.
Yes.
Apo, sige po, magawa po kami ng thread, sir, sa Facebook.
Marami tayong paraan that you can contact me or you can contact me through LRC.
Okay, sir. Any message, sir, sa ating mga participants na umattend ngayon? We have like a total of 250 earlier this morning na join.
Okay, first and foremost, I would like to congratulate all of you who joined the webinar. But before closing this webinar, I would like to thank my department head at the Department of Development Communication, Dr. Christina A. Gabrilio, and for approving the invitation of LRC that I will become a resource speaker. And then to our VSU President, Dr. Edgardo Tulin, for trying to encourage his faculty and staff to be into the arts. And also our city mayor, Mayor Boyeng Carey, for encouraging our youth in Baybay to be involved in the arts. And also DepEd City, Baybay City Division for developing an arts program for the different students all over the city. And also the production crew who helped me in my production. And it was a challenging production because Typhoon Auring was coming, and we had a series of brownouts and internet interruptions here in the city. And also my former student, Mark Unlukay, the SK chairman of Bye Bye, for encouraging our youth to be involved in the arts. So yun lang po.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Jude. Thank you for generously sharing your passion, and you're very artistic po talaga, sir. And thank you for joining us always. Hindi mo kami pinapahindian. So,
of course.
Salamat po. So there you have it, Professor Jude Nonie A. Sales, from BSU main campus. Now, Team LRC would like to take this opportunity to thank you, sir, for your valuable time. So to award the Certificate of Appreciation, may we kindly recognize our beloved director, Dr. Benjamina Paula G. Flor. Allow me just to read the citation first. University of the Philippines, Los Baños Learning Resource Center presents this Certificate of Appreciation to Jude Nonie A for serving as resource speaker in the first session on Paint Your Stress Away, Acrylic Painting for Beginners in the Unplugged 2.0 Relax, De-Stress, and Recharge using Non-Digital Activities webinar series held today, February 22, 2021, given this 22nd day of February 2021 at the Learning Resource Center, UPLB College, Laguna, signed by our director, Ma'am Benji Flor.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Benji.
Thank you so much, Sir Jude. As always, we learned so much from your presentation and sharing. And we also thank our participants who are likewise eager to learn from you. And I hope we will be able to come up with, di nga obra maestra, no? Ano lang, come up with a piece to stress, to paint away our stress. So sana naman ay makita natin ang liwanag at ang kapayapaan pagkatapos nating makita ang ating mga first output in terms of our expression. And I hope that everyone would be able to download our recording after this so that you will have some guide on how to proceed. Ang daming tips na binigay ni Sir Jude na hindi ko na rin nasundan lahat at ang gaganda ng mga sinabi ninyo, things that would somehow help us along the way in terms of painting our first obra maestra and our first output na lang in terms of this session. And we hope that you will find the time to attend in our next sessions that would somehow help you your journey towards this pandemic. So we hope that all these sessions will be able to help us pass this through smoothly and happily. So thank you once again for joining LRC, and we hope to see you in our future sessions.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Benj. Again, thank you so much, Sir Jude. Now for the evaluation of this session, again, please do not forget to answer the evaluation form after the webinar. That's for you to receive your e-certificate of participation. Your comments and suggestions po will be deeply appreciated by our team, Team LRC. The evaluation link will be sent to you, to those who successfully registered sa event. You have until 7 p.m. today to send in your responses. And if you can see on our screen, meron din tayong QR code. You can check that para diretso na po kayo doon sa ating link. Ano po? Kindly give us at least 48 hours to generate your certificates, which will be sent again to your email. Again, more than the certificates, guys, we hope you gained valuable insights from our second session of, or the first session of our Unplugged 2.0 webinar series. Ayan. So reminders po for our next session. Join us again, guys, sa second session of the Unplugged 2.0 webinar series entitled Brush and Bloom, Basics of Botanical Painting with Watercolors with Sir Jude again. So that will be on Wednesday, February 24, 2021. Same time po tayo, 10 in the morning. Again, let's take advantage of this opportunity to refresh and do good for our souls. Attend all our sessions to find ways to unburden ourselves from the overwhelming responsibilities that we have right now. So ayan, wag ninyong kalimutan na mag-register po. Open pa rin po ang ating registration. At this point, we would like to recognize and thank our team, #Team LRC, and our Unplugged team, headed by our director, Ma'am Benji Flor, with the support of our Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Jane O. Loyola. On our technical side is our University Research Associate, Joshua Michael G. Jonas, and our production online director, Direct Prof. Mark Lester Chico, and also for joining us this morning, our AVC, si Ma'am Rosel Collado. Thank you very much for representing our VCAA, Dr. Jing O. Loyola. Also, may we thank our two other members ng Team LRC, Tita Allen and Kuya Iwok. Talagang kasama po namin sila sa lahat ng aming programa, hindi man sila nakikita dito sa ating Zoom space. Alright, a big thank you once again to Sir Jude for very passionately sharing your talent to us this morning. And there you have it, guys. Thank you, everyone. This has been your moderator for today's session, Cheryl Hermosa Ebron. Mga ka-unplug, sa panahon ngayon, tila napakahirap pong kalmahin ang ating mga sarili dahil sa samot-saring pagsubok na ating dinaranas dala ng pandemya. Iba't iba man po yung ating pinagdadaanan bilang mga guro, mga estudyante, mga empleyado, administrador, o kaya naman po sa ating pamilya. Ganun pa man, sa gitna po ng unos na ito, piliin pa rin nating hanapin ang kapayapaan sa ating puso. Sama-sama at tulong-tulong po nating lampasan ang ating mga pinagdaraanan. Let's always be reminded that together, we are better and we are stronger. You don't have to do it alone. Together, let's build, encourage, and support one another. Once again, thank you for joining us today. See you on Wednesday for another refreshing session on Brush and Bloom. Keep safe and God bless you all. Bye.
Kasi Ate She.
Naka-live pa.